Hello, and welcome to the unofficial start to the year-end list. It's December, so I kind of do this every year, although these first couple of videos you're going to see before we get to the worst and best albums of the year, at least in my opinion, are something that I'm trying for the first time. And I wanted to start out with 5 albums that came out this year that were very disappointing to me. These were albums that, in one way or another, I was anticipating or maybe expecting some sort of turnaround, and just got the complete opposite. It's not that I hate these albums per se, except for maybe like 1 or 2 of them. It's just I was expecting more and got way less than before. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get it started. I've been listening to this band for years, and Rise Against has kind of slowly just kind of deteriorated into a band that I'm just like, okay, cool. You know, I was expecting something from this and didn't get much. It's just more generic than they ever have been, and I don't know, I just don't see the appeal to them anymore. You know, when they had that, political aspect to them, they were fine. I mean, Savior is still one of my favorite, like, I guess you can say, emo rock songs from, the 2000s decade when it came out in late 2009, I think it was. But now they're just a band that we can all reminisce about because, kind of like The Used, they just don't make that great of music anymore. There was a couple of things on this album I did like, but outside of that, very boring. I mean, Ava Max did warn us with the title of this album, don't click play, because, wow, what made her fun early on was just that she was able to just make these songs with these catchy choruses, something that gets stuck in your head. But this time around, this album, it was kind of like, yeah, I don't know what happened here or why you thought these would be a good batch of songs. Plus, the sampling has just become more and more obvious. Not that I have a problem with sampling, but when that's like the thing that you rely on the most, it kind of just becomes way too tiresome and way too old very quickly. So I don't know, maybe she was another one of those pop artists that with the first album she wasn't necessarily coming in with too much expectation, so she did whatever she wanted, but now that there's a formula, it could just be as generic as it was with this record. You know, this kind of music was never really my favorite to begin with, this whole deathcore thing, but Slaughter to Prevail were always interesting to me, but I do not even know what they were trying to pull off with this record. This is probably the only record I would say, outside of maybe the Ava Max record on this album, that I hate. But I didn't want to put this on my worst albums of the year because it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, they were at least a likable band in the beginning, but now it's just so unbearable, and there's just these weird political undertones with it, god-awful clean singing that pops up. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Alex Terrible is just, throwing shit at the wall and trying to be controversial because Lord knows he's controversial, which again, I don't really mind when you're able to make it so that the controversies aren't anything like super bad. Like, if it's just like, oh, you sing about this in your songs and this, it's like, okay, I get it, that's controversial, but it's not bad. But when you start showing your Nazi worship, that's when it gets a little bit way out of hand there, because we're dealing with enough of that here in America with the Trump lovers. But yeah, Slaughter to Prevail's Grizzly was one I had high expectations for, only to be let down. And also, I'm very disappointed in Baby Metal because they dropped a great record this year and then they feature on one of these tracks, and here I'm just like, you can't be that desperate, can you, girls? I mean, at least it's less generic than the last 2 records that Architects have put out, but with The Sky, the Earth, and all between, it's just like, they don't have an identity anymore, or they're trying to be other bands and they don't know where to go, so they're just picking something out of a hat and hoping that it works. Again, There's good things on here, and I don't necessarily hate this album, but I wasn't expecting a 5 out of 10 album from a band that I know can do better even in their most generic of times. It's just becoming tiresome, and the Bring Me the Horizon comparisons just keep getting more and more, like, closer to each other. Like, at this point, sometimes I can't even tell if it's an Architect song or a Bring Me the Horizon song. I know, call me crazy, call me what you want, but that's just how it is. And with Architects, they're not really that much fun to listen to anymore, outside of a few songs here and there. But my number one most disappointing album of 2025 has to be this record, because I was so anticipating this thing and anticipating it to be good that my expectations were let down with the first couple of singles, and there really was no way they could win me over. Jinjer's new album, Duel. I don't know. Again, there's good elements, there's good songs on here, but there's just something missing. I mean, the clean vocals from Tatiana are fine, I guess, but at some point in time it just feels like, okay, you're trying way too hard. And even on the heavier moments, it's kind of like, yeah, cool, but, you know, we've heard this a bunch of times over. Like, this is another band that used to be so interesting in so many ways, doing a lot of different things, that now they've become generic, and it's just kind of like, alright, I get it, you have a formula, but at the same point in time, you always can add on to that formula in some way. You don't have to make every song sound the same in a way. Not necessarily sound the same, but when it has the same formula, you just kind of go, am I listening to a different song? Or is this a new song? Or is this like a multi-part song that I'm not aware of? It all blends together, but in the worst way possible, and this wasn't what I was expecting from the band at all. I was expecting them to come in with a bang, to follow up their last record, which in itself was excellent, but they didn't necessarily fall flat on their face, but they kind of tripped and stumbled, and they were just kind of getting up like, okay, maybe we didn't notice. Well, there you have it. Those were 5 albums that I heard this year that came out that I was absolutely ready to listen to, only to be let down and disappointed in the end. Would really like to hear in the comments below, what are albums that you were expecting this year that came out that disappointed you? Because I can assure you, you listen to some different things than I do, so maybe there was something you were anticipating that I wasn't, and you were let down by, or who knows, maybe some of these albums that I had on here were also ones you were anticipating, and you were also disappointed by the time you heard them, just like myself. And maybe you disagree with me on some, and that's okay too, and tell me your reason why if you do. But until then, that's it for me. Stay safe out there, have a happy holidays, and I will catch you all in the next one.